Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing why E3 2022 will not be happening at all. So, E3's been in a bit of turmoil over the past couple of years. They didn't have an event in 2020 because of the pandemic. They had an online event in 2021, and they tried to have an in-person event, but that got canceled during January, and there was already rumors back then of there just being no E3 at all. Now, E3's been in a bit of turmoil in total since like maybe 2016, 2017. I feel like that's when most gamers started like having this feeling of like, hey, we don't like E3. There's a lot of things wrong with E3 that isn't getting addressed. It's not engaging, and we're seeing games and they keep getting delayed, which doesn't really mainly focus on EA. It's just E3. It's just a product of it. Basically, what I'm saying is that it's sort of been on a downward trajectory for a while now, and this was sort of the nail in the coffin. See, COVID really was the main factor behind a lot of this, and it feels like Nintendo Direct and the PlayStation Showcase and the Xbox Game Show were really like big, and we're all nails in the coffin in their own rights. And it's just a lot of people were going to E3 mainly for these three companies. It's getting to the point of why would you watch E3? Like, what are you getting out of it? What games are you seeing? If Sony even decided that hey, we're not gonna have our exclusives in E3, and publishers themselves have even had cons. I remember Bethesda, I think it was like a couple of years ago, having their own con, right? It just seems like the business model of all these games coming together really just sort of faded out. And we're seeing that with a lot of gaming stuff that's been around for a while, especially even with G4 TV, a really recent example. They can't do what they did back then because the people who were into it back then are old now and they've grown up and they're not into that anymore. It just feels like the same thing in this scenario. As for where E3 goes from here, I don't know where they go from here. I don't know what they do. If I was the CEO of ESA, which is the company who runs E3, I would be very, very scared because I don't know what we do. Maybe I would sort of shift my focus over to like indie games, right? And make that like our main selling point. Like, hey, here's some good indie games that you can look at. Here's Sifu, right? Well, here's the next version of Sifu since Sifu's already out, but I'm just using that as an example. Now, see, this all really started from a tweet from Will Powers where he said that he got an email that E3 had been canceled. Now, originally when I read the article that so I was like, this might be a rumor, I don't know. But IGN came out and officially confirmed that there will be no E3 this year. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the entire thing. That was a quick rundown of the events. Yeah, I think this is really the end of E3. I think 2021 was the last E3 we'll see for a while, or maybe even ever. You know, unless like I said, they shift over to indie games and people really enjoy that for whatever reason, right? Other than that, I don't see any way for E3 to come back.
Hey, so this is editing me. Just wanted to throw a couple things in here that I left out and I came across while editing this. So first off, E3 has announced that they're going to come back, or make an attempt to at least come back for 2023, and they said it's going to be big, and I'm pretty sure they said something like that for 2021. So really it's just something you just ought to look for, but it's really tentative. I just figured I should throw it in there. Also, if you're really into E3, because I've seen a lot of people online who are into E3, the Summer Games Fest is still going to be going on, and person I believe who is the leader of that is Jeff Knightley. I think I'm saying his name right. So he's apparently like a big gaming head honcho, you know, like an upper echelon guy. I'm not too into, you know, the leaders of gaming businesses and stuff like that, but he seems to be in charge, and from what I've heard, he's like, you know, he's basically like whoever E3 CEO used to be, right? Like if you want your game to be like in the mainstream, you get it to him, and he'll, you know, help you through the Summer Games Fest. Obviously you have to pay for that and everything, but yeah.
But yeah, that wraps up the video for me, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.